probably was around 10 or 11 when I first experienced Camp Pecometh. All of my sisters had went before me, and I was too young at the time, but then when I finally was able to go, I vowed that I would always come back.
Well, honestly, I don't like being away from home, so I kind of expected that I wouldn't like it very much. But honestly, I feel like this is probably one of the best things that I could have done.
We feel like it's a home away from home, and that's a place for us that has meaning.
As a pastor's kid, I remember feeling like Pecometh was my spiritual home because I knew that we would move from church to church, but I would always come back to Pecometh in the summer. That was really where I felt the most spiritual growth each year, was that week of summer camp.
It's hard to put into words, but camp is just one of those places that you just, as soon as you're there, you just feel so close to God.
I learned that He is real, and that I learned that He's not just our Father, but that He loves us like we're His kids.
The main thing about camp is that it prepares you spiritually for life.
A lot of times in church, like things like Sunday school and VBS, like those are fun, but camp is a whole new level of Christian fun. Like it's you're out on the water, or you're going to the pool, or just playing field games. But it's all fun, but it's still Christ-centered.
I think here I got to experience God in a way that I hadn't in the other churches because it was so close to nature and you were able to see the things of God.
Growing on Chrysalis, it was just, the normal overwhelming feeling of, just experiencing God's love and, growing up in the church, I always knew He was there, and, but, to really experience His love and, just have it, that weekend, just to have you and Him together, it was just, at that point there was no doubt that, He loved me and that, I loved Him.
I always knew that God was in my life. I always felt God's presence with me. But when I went to Chrysalis, my faith became real and personal for me. That was when I had my heart strangely warmed moment, as John Wesley would say.
It definitely gets you closer to God, and that's one of the cool things about it.
I mean, I remember those nights and seeing the candles float off and thinking that, God loved me, and this was just such an anointed, special place. And I could hear God's voice.
So many of our leaders have been grown right here. Like I say, Pecometh is a place to grow. And I think the fact that the physical facility is a lot like it was in the early days is wonderful, and it's more needed now than back in the 50s and 60s when the camp was young, because our world has changed.
I think it helped me realize why I wanted to be a teacher at church. The lessons kind of showed what I can do to be a better leader, and it just made me feel like I was meant to be a leader.
This week really helped me realize that God uses all sorts of people to work in His will. I mean, I've heard it before, but I never really believed it. How could God use someone like me? But now I realize that He could use pretty much anybody if He wanted to.
And there's been lots of counselors over the years who have been really great faith role models for me, and kind of provided an example of someone who was more to my age, that was really living out their faith and kind of reading their Bible regularly or praying regularly.
We all want to work on staff. We want to continue to keep going, keep coming to camp, and then come on staff once we are old enough, and then send our kids to camp.
That gives me hope for the church in a time when everyone is a little anxious about who the future leadership will be and whether the church will survive. But I see God moving in the camp community every day, and I see how God is raising up new leaders for the church.
So many folks, you hear people that have given their lives to Christ here, have heard a call to ministry here, have just felt the presence of God and a warmth here that's not in other places. It's just set apart. It's a holy spot.
I couldn't be more supportive of camping ministry because it reaches people that no one else can reach in ways that a church sometimes can't reach people, and it teaches people the meaning of community and Christian love and care for creation and discipling like nothing else.
I love